Hello YouTube. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different than the normal high-tech videos that I do. Today I'm going to go really low-tech. I have here three leather belts that I've had for years and years. I think I got this one probably back, oh wow, when I was still in college, like around 1990 or so. And then this one is probably 10 years newer than that. And then this one is probably 10 years newer than that. They've all had a lot of wear and tear. They're in good shape. The leather is still in good shape, but it's definitely worn. I've since replaced these with a newer belt that I wear all the time. But I even wear this original one for working around the house, working around the garage, working around the robot shop. Recently, I started using this leather honey on the boots that I bought not too long ago. And I wanted to see, looking online, there were a number of videos where it looked like a miracle product that you could rejuvenate all this old leather. And I thought I would see what it could actually do if I used it on these belts. So this is really an experiment to see just what's going to happen. Here you can see the condition that these belts are in. They're pretty worn out near the holes, and as we move along the length of the belt, you kind of come around this side, and if you notice, we'll come back over here, you'll notice on all three of these, they're all pretty scratched up where my cell phone clip would normally clip onto my belt. So it'll be interesting to see what we actually get when we put this rejuvenator on here. You can see that even this one, the tooling is even worn away a bit, so it's even taken down. This one just has the finish knocked down. The finish is a little scratched on this one too, but this one actually you're down into the leather. So we'll see what we get. So I hit this leather honey with about 30 to 40 seconds in the microwave. It warmed it up a little bit, makes it a little bit less thick, so it can go on a little easier, hopefully. And I've got a cloth here that I'm going to use to apply it. This is just a little piece that I trimmed out of a microfiber cloth that I used to wash my car. So let's go ahead and get started with the first belt. Put a little bit of this on the rag, and we'll just rub it right into the leather. It is definitely turning the leather darker when I put it on. Looks like it must be soaking in nicely. All right, so that is one belt down. I'll show you what that looks like. Looks pretty good. Even that part where the cell phone had mounted, this is what the inside looks like. The inside was never in that bad a shape. It was just the outside that was all scratched up. So we're going to set that aside, and we'll let that soak in a little bit. So here is the second oldest belt. This one has sort of a tooled weave pattern in it. We can see where it's really worn down towards the part where the cell phone clipped onto it. So let's see what happens when we hit that with the leather honey. The inside looks like that. It's not too bad. It's pretty worn. This one, the inside is going to need treating more than the previous belt did. So we'll flip this around, grab our rag, put more of this on it. We'll start right up here by the buckle. All right. So now we're done with that belt, the top side, and we will set that one up aside and go for the third belt. Here's the third one. You can see what it looks like along its length. It's in pretty decent shape. Again, this is the scuffed part where the cell phone clip would go. It's got a little bit of a divot where the belt pulled, or the buckle pulled. Let's see what we can do with this one. So now that we've done all three belts, let's go back and look and see how the first one is doing and maybe hit the inside of it. Let's see, we'll set that one up. Okay. Set the buckle and the belt loop aside. And here is the first one. So it's still pretty shiny from, there's like a little bit of leather honey on the surface. Let's go ahead and flip it over and do the inside. Okay. Set that one aside. And let's go back to belt number 2. Braided with a braided tooling on it. Looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and hit the inside of this belt. So that's belt number 2. We're going to set this one aside and go for belt number 3. We'll let those sit and dry out for a while, and then we'll come back to them and see what we've got. Okay, we're back. It's about 5 hours later, and now we're going to take a look at these belts and see what the differences are. This is the oldest one, and the first thing we're going to do is take a rag and we'll give this a quick polish. The belt seems to be dry. It doesn't seem to have any kind of tons and tons of excess lotion on it. Go ahead and wipe it off just to make sure. All right, let's go to belt number 2. That was this one. Go ahead and wipe this one down too. I would say that there is definitely a very dramatic difference in this one. Okay, let's look at belt number 3. Now this one, give it a wipe down. Let's say a lot like belt number 2, it's definitely helped a lot. I would say, for the most part, this has done a really good job at bringing these belts back. Now, belt number 1 is just old, and it is not nearly as, it wasn't brought back nearly as well as number 2 and 3. 2 and 3 look a lot better. Belt number 1, though, it still looks like a worn out work belt. I wouldn't wear that for good. So I might go ahead and hit that one more time just to see what happens. So here's a final close-up of the 3 belts. Belt 1 is at the bottom, 2 is in the middle, and 3 is on top. And I'm just going to pan along these so that you can compare these to the original condition of the belts. I would say belt number 1, still a little rough. I think I'm going to go ahead and give it another shot of the Leather Honey and see if I can help it out a little bit more, just to see what happens. But 2 and 3 are pretty decent. So hopefully some other people will find this comparison useful, and you can tell, you can get a little bit better of an idea of what to expect if you treat an old belt with Leather Honey.